What's going on, Diesel War Reaction? This your boy Juan Diesel, and I'm back with another video. This one's called Priscilla Presley Talks About Dating Elvis as a Teenage Girl. Wow. Before I start the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification, hit that thumbs up, leave a comment, share this video and channel, and let's get started, folks.
Young. How young were you?
14.
Now, what was it? What are your memories like at 14 of meeting someone this gigantic on the world stage who was then in the Army, right?
Right.
And your father was lifelong military, right?
Right, in the Air Force.
What was that like?
You have to remember that when I met Elvis, it wasn't the fanfare that it is today, or even when he was here in the States and I was in Germany growing up. So I saw him at a very vulnerable time. He had just lost his mother, and he was grieving. And I came into his life, and he somehow, felt like confiding in me and talking to me, and I was like a sounding board for him as a 14-year-old kid.
But did you feel ready for something serious?
Not really. I don't feel, as far as something serious, I didn't realize at that time how serious it was. I had my mother and my father convincing me that he'd be going back to Hollywood and he'd be back with the actresses and dating them, and that he wasn't serious about me at all. So I had him saying one thing to me and my parents telling me something else.
And so he was saying he loves you,
Yeah.
and they were telling you this is a teenage crush.
Right.
And you'll
Well,
get over
they
it.
didn't really know how serious it was between us. They, they were very fond of him. They were very fond of his father. They were both, my gosh, there was Southern hospitality and very, very humble. And that's the way it was back then. They met my parents, and it was like the old-fashioned way where they meet and they agree upon things together. And
When they learned how serious it was, were they upset?
yes, my father, I guess it all really started after Elvis came back to the States. It was 1960. And I didn't hear from Elvis right away. And my mother said, see, I told you he was going to forget about you. And they had told me that I had to start a life and get back to school and start doing the things that a young schoolgirl should be doing. Which was very difficult. I confided in no one. I had one friend, I believe I told what was going on, and that was it.
So
then
what happened?
Elvis started calling about 21 days after I got back, and that's when it all started again.
And they couldn't do anything to stop it?
No, not at that age. No, it was difficult because he would call at all hours of the night. We'd talk on the phone 2 and 3 hours at a time. I was encouraged to go to school and to even date somewhat,
Did you?
I did a little, yeah, I
Is
did.
that weird, dating a guy who knows you're going off with Elvis Presley?
Well, he didn't know. They didn't
Well,
know.
no one knew.
No, it was to be kept a secret.
So, memory phase, how did it pull it all off? How did you finally, we're going to get married and got married?
Well, I feel like I'm repeating myself. I wrote the book, so I feel
I
like
know,
this
but
is
it's been
old
so
news.
long.
I know.
I'm going to go by this quickly. I'm
Okay.
gliding through.
All right. I just don't want to bore your audience.
You're not boring. There's a whole new level. What Elvis has sold 1 billion records,
Yes.
right, worldwide.
Worldwide.
There's a whole element of people
That's true, I know.
that are new
Yes.
to Elvis.
A whole new generation, absolutely. There were the phone calls, and Elvis, I had asked me to visit him in Los Angeles. This was in 1962. I came and visited in Los Angeles that summer for about 2 or 3 weeks, and he took me to Las Vegas. And I went back home after that, and it changed my life. I mean, I was in love.
And your parents had to accept it, or what could they do?
Yes, because he also called and asked me to come back at Christmas. So there was these continuous calls. And at that time, Larry, when you're, I was 16, 17 at the time, at that time, girls got married. They weren't thinking of a career. So Elvis was very convincing to my parents and saying, I'll take good care of her. Please let her come. I don't know what this is all about. I don't know these feelings myself. These are all new to me because I was so young. So my parents let me come. They let me go to school. And
What was like?
I mean, I threatened them. I said, you're ruining my life. I mean, I gave them a lot of things to think about too, that they were ruining my life and probably my fate.
What was life like early on? What was it like to
Early
be
on,
young and married to a world celebrity?
very difficult for a young girl. It was, I was in a whole new world, a very strange world, very different from when I had met him when he was a soldier, and very vulnerable.
Did you like any of the attention? I mean, I can imagine a 17, 18-year-old might be a little thrilled at red carpets and paparazzi. And
that was a way of life. I didn't know anything from then on after that. I didn't look at it that way. That was how he, he got around, and he had his entourage. It was just his way of life. I had to accept that. I certainly couldn't change it.
my guest is Priscilla Presley. She heads the Dream Foundation. We're going to talk about that. A lot of things she's involved with. You're going to produce something, right?
Yeah.
You're bringing back an old.
Yes, an old movie.
We're going to get to that. We'll be right back with Priscilla Presley right after this.